When I first saw Soldier Boy's live-action costume, I wasn't sure what to make of it. It just looked like a mishmash to me, and it didn't look like Captain America, which, of course, they've been hinting that the character clearly is a take on that. We're going to talk about making a distinct character from Homelander in just a moment. But what really pulled this look into focus for me were the accompanying comments from costume designer Laura Jean Shannon, who said that while there are military elements here, very subtle ones, this is a World War II character like Captain America, they decided instead to really lean into a cowboy look. And boy, did they lean into a cowboy look. I mean, this doesn't look at all, as I said, like Captain America to me, but it makes perfect sense as a superhero cowboy. I mean, Westerns have not typically done that well with audiences, and Cowboys and Aliens was a flop, but I like Westerns quite a bit. Back to the Future 3 is like tied with 1 for my favorite, so I like that direction a lot, although I mean, it's the boys. Everyone's gonna love it, but I'm curious to see how you feel about doing a take on a cowboy. I think it's brilliant, and it's really smart for not necessarily a take on Captain America, but for a broader idea of what an American-themed superhero would look like. Now, he didn't come from the 1800s, though. The 1880s. He came from the 1940s. So I'll be curious to see how they justify the cowboy look. Although, I guess maybe if his character comes from the Midwest, there's that culture, or Texas, that culture is still very much there. If he comes from Texas, that would make a lot of sense. Or, that region. So they could make it work, but they're going to have to really put it in the script. But look at the detailing on this. The shield, the chest plate, that scarf, that just really does brilliantly scream Old West and that time period. Even Jensen Ackles' hair here looks more like cowboy hair than World War II. And look at the close-up on the scarf. Look at all those little stars. That's amazing that they decided to do that. That's going to really, I think, pay off in the close-up shots. And in fact, I think that star pattern covers his entire suit, which is amazing that they did that. That's just incredible. Now, why is it green? That's not in the American flag. Well, that comes from the comic version of the character. So that's a nod to that color scheme. But in the comic, they had more the pomp and circumstance of Washington, D.C., people who make decisions about battle but aren't really in there. That pomp and circumstance has clearly been stripped from the live-action version of the character. Also, when you know the cowboy angle, you can start to really imagine what Jensen Ackles' performance will be like. And costume designer Shannon even name-checked John Wayne, saying that Soldier Boy is going to have that classic John Wayne attitude. Now, if you're familiar with your Hollywood history, John Wayne was in fact a very controversial figure behind the scenes, and not as heroic as the characters that he played. Which I think will only help the character of Soldier Boy, because the boys loves to dive into that kind of stuff. So I think that'll be really interesting commentary, not just on an American superhero, but on, the celebrities who played them like John Wayne, and they were supposed to be real life cowboys. I think that could be really, really interesting. And I'm glad they didn't do a direct take on Captain America, because of course that's what Homelander is supposed to be, a take on Captain America and Superman. And in fact, they really have both of Chris Evans' looks as the character nailed down here, which I find fascinating. More on that in a moment. But first, Ackles is playing the first Vought company superhero. That's an important distinction. We'll talk about Stormfront in a moment. But of course, Giancarlo Esposito's Mr. Edgar brought up Soldier Boy in season 2, talking about how Compound V was developed during World War II by Frederick Vought, a Nazi scientist who defected to the United States and started this company, Vought International. It's really the comic book stand-in for nuclear power. And so they first tested it on Soldier Boy during World War II, and it was a resounding success, although on paper, let's see the story that Soldier Boy has to tell. Clara Rissinger, of course, is the first person to actually take Compound V as Vaught's wife. And she went on to become Liberty when they defected to the United States, and then covered her tracks and the fact that she was still alive by becoming Stormfront, which that whole storyline, of course, was again explored in season 2. Now, while Soldier Boy has only so far been seen as a statue outside Vought headquarters and referenced by, Mr. Edgar, If Stormfront is still alive from the 1940s, I think there's a very strong chance that Soldier Boy is still alive as well. And of course, he's played by Jensen Ackles, which I think also increases the odds that he's still alive. Now, in the comics, Soldier Boy is a straight-up villainous superhero. He's not at all sympathetic, and he has little dignity. He's the brunt of a lot of jokes, often made fun of in the context of the stories, and that's something else I don't think they're going to do to Jensen Ackles. I think it would be a lot more interesting, and I think you see shades of that already, to offer up, well, there's no clear-cut good and bad in the world of the boys, but a good version of Captain America to counterbalance Homelander's bad version. I think that would be really, really interesting. And again, they really do have a split look of Chris Evans's Captain America's. And Ackles really emulates the look of Cap when he was his most anti-government on the run after Civil War at the beginning of Infinity War. He has that look. So I think that's great commentary. That's a lot of great, The Boys is a very sophisticated show, and now they have a chance to continue that with the Soldier Boy character, which I think is very exciting. I think there's a chance the boys could get their biggest superhero assist yet with Soldier Boy, which would be very interesting. Now, in the comics, as many people have brought up, Soldier Boy and Homelander have a sex scene, and it's implied that they have sex regularly because Homelander is tricking Soldier Boy into thinking that that's the only way that Soldier Boy can get into the Seven. So it's like a carrot that Homelander is dangling in front of Soldier Boy. Now, that, of course, is used, in a degrading way. But I think it would be great if Soldier Boy is a fully fledged LGBT character and that gets a more nuanced storyline than Maeve. I think that would be a great way to keep that element from the comics in the story, but again, switch it around to make it really sophisticated, and I think it would be great. I think that could be very cool. And also commentary on the Stucky thing that many of us see, between Cap and Bucky. They've dialed that down, but, I think for a couple of years in the movies, everyone could see it. So that would also, so again, it works on many, many layers, and I think that would be fantastic. Finally, Jensen Ackles actually auditioned for the role of Captain America, if you did not hear that story. And the way it goes is that Marvel liked Chris Evans better, but they still liked Jensen Ackles, so they offered him Hawkeye, but Ackles felt that wasn't as good a role, so he turned it down. He said, I don't want to be Hawkeye, although, of course, that has become the focus of Jeremy Renner's career. Well, now Ackles finally gets his shot at Captain America, and let's see how he does. I think it's a very interesting take. I really like it a lot. And I'm curious to see what other elements we're going to have in play here. So I want to know what you think of this costume and what you would like to see, Soldier Boy, what elements you'd like to see with the character for The Boys Season 3. Share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.